baby, doctor. It's a boy. 8 pounds, 6 ounces. That was announced the 22nd of July in London, at the hospital where I work. All the bells from the churches and the Big Ben were announcing to the great Commonwealth of the United Kingdom that we have a new king coming. His name is His Royal Highness George Alexander Louis of Cambridge. Fellow Toastmaster, distinguished guest, distinguished Toastmaster. We hear this announcement with less pomp, of course, 10,000 times a day in the United States. Even more when we are talking about the world. However, my discussion is going to be here about infant mortality. And as you can imagine, all the states of the United Kingdom as a state or as a kingdom wouldn't allow this guy to die. The same thing we do in our current society. All the efforts, all the states, we have a protocol around the baby because it has to burn and has to be healthy for the first year in order to have these statistics. Can you read from there? Thank you. Okay, we have here, in the lower part, this is supposed to be a projector with a big, big thing. We have in the lower range all these advanced societies where mortality is 0.3, 0.4%. While on the other range, we have the other countries at the top of the line, they will say, with about 20% mortality, which means before the baby becomes 1 year old, 1 out of 5 is going to die. What are we doing with the current society? We have our babies, we treat them very well, we teach them writing, reading, mathematics, and about when they become 10 years old, they become masters. Masters of the cell phone. Master of the tablets and the computers. And that's the control tower they have. Have you heard this? Mom, pick me up now. Mom, I'm hungry. Let me stop the parallel here because that's the story you know. Those are our kids. Or eventually you were it somehow. Let's make a U-turn around here. And then we are going to start talking about the 10-year-old guys and girls in the primitive communities. Those are the communities that we still have in this world, about a handful of them. They are isolated from the civilization. Who are their teachers? The same community. Their parents, their cousins, everyone. But mostly, Mother Nature. We don't allow our kids to get closer to the barbecue because they may get burned. Don't touch the knife because you may get cut. How do they do it? Very simple. Touch it and learn it. Get cut and you're going to learn it. In the same way the animals do, and they survive. Now let's continue quickly in the U-turn, which is going to be this. How are they fed? Where do they get the nutrition? Does the mother go to Walgreens or Publix to buy the baby formula? There is no Walgreens, no baby formula there. Is breastfeeding for about 3, 4, or even 5 years continuously. What does it mean? That the mother is going to be, I don't get this word, which is she's prevented to become pregnant. Because the interaction between the baby and the breast is preventing her to get pregnant. So in the same way, we are going to see these kids, their siblings are 4 years difference, which is not our case. But let's continue down the road in the U-turn, which is going to be how these mothers have their babies. According to some information that I got from my mom, when she was a teenager, she was living in rural Colombia, very close to an Indian community. And she said, I shared with her this kind of experiences. I'm going to prepare a speech about this. And she told me, the Indians that were living near my home, they went to the river nearby to have their babies. Some of our mothers, they do in pools in our current society, but they went to the river. Let me tell you, that was high in the mountains, and the water was pretty cold. And that's the way it is. Mother Nature takes control of this. Let's continue with our situation. These moms, once they become pregnant and they start the labor, they go to a kind of clear in the forest or eventually to nearby beach in order to have their babies by their own, without help, as the animals do. Well, there was a scientist guy, according to this book I'm reading, he was living in Brazil in one of these communities. One of these Indian lady decided to go to the beach in order to start the labor. Later in the night, he started listening some screams. It's painful. It's painful. The baby is not coming. Let me move fast forward. The next day, the chief Indian reunited the community and said, "It's a boy! 8 pounds, 6 ounces. None of them survived. We are going to have the funeral today." Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters, we may say that infant mortality is one of the great achievements of this society, but also we are extending our lives beyond 90 years old and 100 years old. And that's great, fantastic. Me as a physician, I'm so proud of that. What's going to happen 50 years from now or 100 years from now once we deplete our resources? What's going to happen? We are going to be screaming, "Mother Nature, please take care of us," because we, as human beings, we weren't able to survive with our own resources. Madam Toastmaster. I have another one here.
What a powerful